Hi folks, in this video it's all about the winch recovery. We're going to cover general winching, the gear required, rigging, plenty of tips you may or may not know about, do's and don'ts, pretty much anything to do with winching. Subscribers, welcome back, and if this is your first time viewing one of my videos, hi, I'm Ronnie from fourwheelingwesternaustralia.com, the four-wheel drive website that pretty much has everything covered with four-wheel driving. Alright, let's get into this winching video. First up folks, let's get into the gear that we need. The Jeep here has a 12,000 pound winch. That equates to about 5.4 tonne in metric. The Cruiser here has a 9,500 pound winch, so slightly smaller. That equates to about 4.3 tonne. So plenty of pulling power on both these winches, and that's the most common size winches are anywhere between that. Now to the gear. First up, for your winch line, 2 blankets. You can use other things, we'll go into that. A tree strap, also known as a tree trunk protector, an extension strap for when the line isn't long enough and can be used for other situations. A bow shackle to connect things. Now we don't always use this, we only use it when we have to. Snatch block, also known as a winch block. These are for double pulls and directional line pulls. We'll get into all this. Everything I mentioned we'll get into. Gloves, recommended. UHF radio for communications. And of course your winch remote. You can also have a cordless one. Now to the rigging. When picking your tree, don't pick a dead tree, because a dead tree can be more than likely hollow, as you can see up here. Lightning struck, and it is hollow at the base. Earlier this morning I saw light come through it. Do not pick a tree like that, because you will more than likely pull it over and that won't be good. This tree here is alive and it's quite big. So Brian here is about to walk his strap up and we'll show you how to put the strap around the tree. This is the correct way of hooking it up, and the strap is nice and straight all the way around, no coils or twists in it. And this here folks is a big no-no. So what we've added here is a piece of metal that doesn't need to be there. It just adds another object to fly around. So I've seen other people do this. This is just ridiculous. Don't do it. The Jeep is now rigged up. A basic, simple, single line pull. On the line, we've got 2 blankets. Now, most people only use 1 blanket, and I strongly disagree with that, but that's my opinion. I think it's safer to have one when you're winching, probably around close to the middle, but at the end where you got the connection, where the hook is, I recommend 1 to 2 meters back, because this is, if anything is going to go wrong, it'll more than likely be down this end where all the connections are. So if something was to go wrong, this blanket will catch it immediately and put downward pressure on it. If you only have one in the middle, say this is 20 meters, that hook or metal object from that end will fly for 10 meters before it hits it. By the time it's flown 10 meters and then it hits downward force, it's nearly reached the vehicle anyway. So put 2 on there. You got 2, use them. Now to a double line pull. The reason why we do a double line pull is to increase the strength of your winch. You almost double the winch strength when we do a double line pull, and I'll explain to you how that works. To do a double line pull, we'll need the snatch block, also known as a winch block. And the way this works, the rope goes in here, or the cable. You close it off like that, and then you hook this up to the tree strap you got. Tighten all the way, come back half a turn. Alright, so now you take the hook down to the other end, hook it up to your vehicle. And I'll just take up tension. Righto folks, we've now hooked it up to the recovery point at this end. So the winch line is now 2 points of contact to the vehicle, hence the name double line pull. This blanket right here is the only blanket that won't move. It'll pretty much stay here the whole time. And then we move further up the line. That blanket there is to specifically stop anything, recovery point or the hook from coming off and flying too far that way. All right, so up here we have another 2 blankets. Double line, we got 3 blankets on it. You can have 4, we've just got 3 on here. That's all we feel is necessary. These 2 blankets will move. This one here will get closer to the winch block and may even get stuck in there. So keep an eye on these as you go and have someone move it back. And this one here will get closer and closer to the vehicle, to the winch itself. By the time that gets there, you should be out of your trouble anyway. So why do we need to do a double line pull? Well, when you do a double line pull, you effectively almost double the strength of your winch. So the cruiser's winch in particular is 9,500 pounds. So you double that, you get 19,000 pounds. So roughly thereabout. That's the amount of pulling power it now has. You'd use this if you are really, really stuck, if you're really deep in the mud, or if you don't want to put too much stress on your winch. The recovery will take twice as long because you've got twice as much rope out and it will go in at half speed as well. You can do a triple as well if you need to, but you're not going to have much rope after a triple line. Triple line's probably about it, what you're going to get out of it. Okay, we've added to the single line standard pull. We now have a extension strap onto the winch line. Now obviously it's got bugger all line out, but it just shows an example. If you don't have enough line, that's what the extension strap is for. You can also shorten the extension strap, which we will show you right now. Righto, so here is another example where you don't need to use a shackle. Okay, you want to only use these when you have to. They're great, but only use them when you have to, because these will cause a lot of damage when they fly. As you can see here, we folded a strap in half. There's minimal tension on it, just enough to hold it up for the purpose of the video. Now, a lot of straps will have some of these on there, like a sleeve. Put the sleeve here, just to add a padding for your strap. It's just better for it. Winch blanket, because we folded it over, you can put it over both straps in one hit. So that takes this, no metal here now. The only place we have metal is right here where the hook is. Right, and here we just put the strap on. So no bow shackle used here either, or D-ring like you guys know them in America. Winch blanket this side, winch blanket this side. Anything goes here, immediate downward force. Probably just come back a little bit though. Probably 2 meters is optimum. 1 meter, it may just go straight through and won't be effective. So there you have it. That's how you shorten up your extension strap, because you just need that little bit more. So what we have here is a directional pull. Starting here from the cruiser, we're pretending that the Jeep is stuck. So we've got the line going up, winch blanket there, winch blanket here, hooked up just like a double line pull, except for the only difference is we're not going back to the vehicle, we're going to the other vehicle. So the line comes out here and comes down to the Jeep here, where we've hooked it up with a bridle. The only D-shackle or bow shackle we've used is on there where the winch block is, snatch block. Alright folks, so here we have a double directional line pull. We're using 2 winch blocks. We've got one on this tree here, and we've got one on that tree there. Where I'm standing right now is the worst possible spot to stand. This is the danger zone, basically contained by the lines. If anything goes, it's going to come in here where I am. Now, thankfully we don't have full tension on this line and we're not working with full tension things, so that's why I'm standing here. Otherwise I would not be here. So when you rig these kind of things up, be very mindful of your danger zones. Basically just get everyone the hell out of the way. Okay folks, so you're now seeing multiple ways of rigging, so now it's time for the winching tips.
Tip number 1.
If you don't have a winch blanket, you can use clothing and towels, a heavy tarp, another strap, your recovery kit bag. So I think by now you get the idea. You can use lots of things, car mats, etc.
Number 2.
Stepping over the line, step over it like that. You don't want to be like this, because if anything happens, the car starts moving, someone presses a button, this might get up right up in your nads. You don't want that.
Number 3.
To conserve your battery, your ampage life on your battery, even if you have a dual system battery, winch 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, roughly about there, especially when you're under load.
Number 4.
UHF radio for communication, obviously. Winch in, winch out, or stop. You say these things twice in case the first one doesn't get through.
Number 5.
Hand signals. Face the vehicle. So for your real basic ones, that's stop, that's winch in, that's winch out. For those who have a little bit of experience with rigging and stuff like that, you can do the old spool in, a little bit in, stop, and out, spool out. But you're probably better off just using the simple ones, just in case the other person involved doesn't quite know or understand. Always agree on your signals beforehand.
Number 6.
When you hook up to a tree, you can hook it up, you should always hook up low. However, in some cases, you may be on a hill, right? And the tree's over here. Your line may be touching the ground, which is not good. If you've got cable, you can get away with it. But if you've got this synthetic rope, doesn't handle abrasive things very well. Put the line up higher on the tree. Make sure it's a big tree though. If it's a small tree and it's the only tree you got, it might be right low, it may not be right up high. You can pull the tree straight down onto you. You don't want that.
Number 7.
The most important of all tips, anyone in the area who's walking around on their phones, who want to capture the recovery on their phone or whatever, just get them the hell out of the way. That's the biggest problem probably, is people don't know where to stand. It's actually the people who are conducting the recovery, if that's you, it's your responsibility to get those people out of the way.
Number 8.
After you've been through a muddy crossing or like bog holes or whatever, you've been using your winch in the mud, make sure you wash your winch rope afterwards, especially if it's rope. Steel cable, fine, doesn't affect it, but this mud and synthetic rope don't match. What happens is you get all the small little sand grains in there. Every time you stretch and contract on the line, it's slowly cutting into it. So make sure you wash it.
Number 9.
After going through a river crossing or multiple water crossings, or you've been in water for a while because you've been stuck or whatever, and the winch has been submerged, it is a pretty good idea when you get a chance to just simply run 10 meters out and 10 meters back in. That should evaporate most of the water that may be stuck in there and will save you heartache later.
Number 10.
You can install a winch isolation switch. The best way to do it is to isolate it from the control box. Don't isolate it from the actual winch motor, because that cable is so damn big. To get a switch for that is going to cost you a fortune, and because it's got to take so much ampage. So what you do is you get the negative or earthing switch from here, the wire, and you can put it inside the vehicle.
Number 11.
On your winch control box. Once you've gone through various muddy crossings and water crossings, it's a good idea to spray WD-40 into your contact pins and perhaps into your winch controller as well. That way you're not going to have dramas later on, and this is quite common. The controller just won't respond that well if there's a bit of gunk on it, rust or whatever. So make sure you keep that clean.
Number 12.
Keep your winch controller inside your vehicle. That way when you do get stuck unexpectedly, you have it in the vehicle. You don't need someone to go through the mud and get it out the back, or you don't need to get out of the car yourself and get it. You can simply pull it out of your glove box or wherever, hand it to your mate out the window, he can plug it in for you.
Number 13.
If you think you're going to be likely stuck somewhere, or you're likely going to be using your winch, you can always get it out, or if you already had it out, instead of feeding it all the way in, you can wrap it around your lights or your bull bar so it's ready to go. Also, the hook is in a nice accessible area to get to, not stuck underneath the vehicle.
Number 14.
After using your winch on a trip or over the weekend, you must re-spool and pre-tension it again properly. You can't just hand feed in 20-30 meters. At the end of this video, there'll be a link to a video that shows you how to do that.
Number 15.
Dedicate one person only to coordinate the recovery, and if you are that person, even if it looks like a simple recovery, just have a good think about it before you actually go into it.
By the way folks, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm actually wearing a different shirt for once. Normally I wear the black shirt with my cruiser on it, which Sackware made up, but Sackware sent us a whole box of shirts. Absolutely love them guys, thank you very much. So check them out, there's a link down below. And thank you guys for watching this video. If you are quite new to winching, I hope you learned a lot, and if you're quite experienced with winching, well, I hope there was 1 or 2 tips you might have picked up there that you didn't know about. Questions, comment down below. In general, just comment down below. We'd love to hear from you guys. Righto folks, you can probably see all the links to other recovery tutorials. Check them out. Also, don't forget to check out our website if you haven't already, jam-packed, loaded with all kinds of information for four-wheel driving, mods, recoveries, anything. Now, take care while you guys are out there recovering each other, and I may catch you out there. See ya.